The New Machiavelli. Book the Second. Margaret. By Herbert George Wells. Narrated by Peter Silverleaf. Chapter the First. Margaret in Staffordshire. 1. I must go back a little way with my story. In the previous book I have described the kind of education that happens to a man of my class nowadays, and it has been convenient to leap a phase in my experience that I must now set out at length. I want to tell in this second book how I came to marry, and to do that I must give something of the atmosphere in which I first met my wife, and some intimations of the forces that went to her making. I met her in Staffordshire, while I was staying with that uncle of whom I have already spoken, the uncle who sold my father's houses and settled my mother in Penge. Margaret was 20 then, and I was 22. It was just before the walking tour in Switzerland that opened up so much of the world to me. I saw her once for an afternoon, and circumstances so threw her up in relief that I formed a very vivid memory of her. She was in the sharpest contrast with the industrial world about her. She impressed me as a dainty blue flower might do, come upon suddenly on a clinker heap. She remained in my mind at once a perplexing interrogation and a symbol. But first I must tell of my Staffordshire cousins and the world that served as a foil for her. 2. I first went to stay with my cousins when I was an awkward youth of 16, wearing deep mourning for my mother. My uncle wanted to talk things over with me, he said, and if he could, to persuade me to go into business instead of going up to Cambridge. I remember that visit on account of all sorts of novel things, but chiefly, I think, because it was the first time I encountered anything that deserves to be spoken of as wealth. For the first time in my life I had to do with people who seemed to have endless supplies of money, unlimited good clothes, numerous servants, whose daily life was made up of things that I had hitherto considered to be treats or exceptional extravagances. My cousins of 18 and 19 took cabs, for instance, with the utmost freedom, and travelled first class in the local trains that ran up and down the district of the 5 towns with an entire...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?